Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm here at Calstock today and I'm doing a little walk where I want to have a little bit of an investigation in a woodland. Quite simply because when I'm here with the kids, we let the kids use the play area. We get an ice cream and have a nice time here. They can ride their scooters around. But we've never been in the woodlands as a family, and I'm just going to come and see whether it's got easy access for the wife because she's not that mobile, and how far it is for the kids and things like that, just so I don't make that mistake of trying to get everybody there and it doesn't work out. But Calstock sits on the banks of the Tamar, and it's on the Cornish side, and we use this quite regularly for our, well, family leisure time. There is a really nice, like I said, ice cream shop here. But all around us are steep valleys with woodlands, and there's a lot of footpaths, and you can make up your own trails, which I've done in the higher parts of it, going to other places. But yeah, I still haven't done this bottom part. You can go to another, I think it's a stately home gardens by the Tamar. Another place is called Cotehill House. I think it's run by the well, English Heritage or National Trust, one of those organisations. That's always worth a visit. But yeah, Calstock is pretty much World Heritage Site due to the mining that took place here and local history, you know, involving all that. So it is quite a nice place to come to, particularly if you're looking to go for, you know, some walks. The village itself has an old worldy vibe and feel to it, and yeah, it's an extremely pleasant place to be. I'm just under a tree getting some shade at the minute while I get myself together. Now we'll make our way down to the play area and where the pubs and that are, but we'll have a little wander through a small part of the village now. Right, I'm looking out across to Devon on the opposite side of the river, and I'm stood here under the tree in the football grounds. There's a car park, and you can see the viaduct the train goes over, well, basically to head towards Plymouth. So we're going to make our way over here where that dog walker's coming down onto the playing field, and we'll just walk along the bank by the river back into the play area where the kids play. Well, it's extremely hot and bright. I'm having to walk backwards to talk to you because quite simply the camera blacks out because of the sun. It is really bright, but yeah, we come here a lot and we really enjoy it. And even though we got some black clouds going overhead, this is going to be an extremely pleasant walk. Right, coming up to the towpath, and we should get our first look at the river. Here we are. There's a lot of reeds, we can't see past them that well. There's some boats moored there. We'll see it a bit better when we go down to a better vantage point. It is a tidal river as well. It goes down to Saltash and Plymouth. And there's the town of, or village of, Calstock on the hillside. Right, just leaving the car park, we come into like the village green. There is a pub, the Tamar Inn, and the Calstock Social Club, and this area can be absolutely full of people. It's got the village hall here as well, but the kids like playing on this wooden ship and riding their scooters all the way around here. And there's a really nice ice cream shop there. You get a nice view of the river from here, and you can catch a ferry as well. The tide is in. Like I said, it's tidal, so when it's at real low tide, it's just basically mud flats with a river in the middle. But that's a viaduct. Some small boats. and you can see some larger boats moored up there. Let's walk down here. Because it's midweek, it's actually quite quiet. It will get busier during the proper summer months or true holiday season, but there's just enough people milling around for the local businesses. But for like me, just to have a little relaxing walk, there's not too many people. In fact, it's probably the perfect time of day and perfect time in the week to come here. So I've been spending a little bit of time around water at the moment. I've had a few surfs. I've been to Lundy Island as well, and I'm here by the Tamar River now as well. So with all this water time, I'm feeling a little bit relaxed, and it's well needed. Just a quick little jaunt through the village. Not going to go too far because I want to get to that woodland, but just enough to give you a flavour. As I've said, you can find a lot of very narrow streets and roads or lanes inside this village. It was never designed for modern cars, so you got to work with it. Right, I'm going to take a left and go uphill. And keep going. And it's all small little cottages for like would have been miners and people working on the quayside. Right, continue up. We should hit one of the main roads, or the 4th Street it says on the sign there. Another pub there, the Boot Inn. Right, let's continue down the main street here. There's loads of little offshoots to explore if you were mind to do it. There are some shops, like crafty type shops and cafes and places like that. We enjoy spending a few hours here. And a very strange little house here. Look how narrow that is. Right, let's continue down here and start making our way to that woodland. Somebody enjoying a gentle paddle down the river on a paddleboard. That looks really, really relaxing. Right, I've just turned off the main road leading out of the village, going back up the hill to one of the smaller offshoots, smaller little lane. And you might just see some trees in the distance, and that's the woodland we're heading to. But this lane is extremely narrow, and there is no real form of parking. But that's a really impressive structure, that viaduct. Now, high up in those trees, I think that actually may be Coat Hill House. I'm not sure. We're not going there in any case. This is a really beautiful old house. Right, let's continue walking. So in this area of Calstock on the Cornish side, there is a multitude of footpaths, and it's not too difficult to find them on the Cornwall County Council interactive map. And the ones I've used higher up in the valley, they've been well marked and well used. So I don't see why this wouldn't be any different down here. But I do know that you can actually, well, make your way to multiple destinations through them. So if you ever did come here, you could spend many hours just walking through charming little lanes and streets like this, woodlands and tracks with fantastic views. And if you was to come at this sort of time of day, really early morning, midweek, you could find yourself having a nice peaceful stroll like I am now. Right, I'm beginning to leave the little village behind me, and I'm heading out into sort of like little country lanes. And I've got a bit of shade from the overhanging trees, which is welcome now. Just imagine having your coffee there first thing in the morning, looking out onto this. Now I am looking for the footpath signs, and I'm hoping they're signposted, because I'm seeing a lot of little entrances shooting up, but they're definitely not footpaths for the general public. Some nice boats there. Now I've got a little bit of a sore throat. I've been wearing a respirator for weeks and weeks on end now, making hiking sticks. I've said in my other videos I've been extremely busy, and yeah, it's finally caught up with me, and I've got a bit of a sore throat. I think just breathing wet moist air in through a respirator for hours at a time has caught up with me. So yeah, this will do me good. Get some nice clean dry air running through my system, and that sun makes everything feel so much better. Should have put sun cream on as well. Well, this is probably a little bit too far for the wife to manage on a nice day like today, with her hips, and the two young boys I think would prefer to be not walking this distance. But for me, it's perfect. In fact, it's not really any sort of distance. If you've got any sort of mobility, what I'm doing here is easily accessible. Before I actually confirm that, let's find this woodland and see if we can get up into it. I've seen a few dog walkers, so I'm presuming that's where they've been. Well, I've just found a couple hidey holes so I can get the car this much closer, so that's given me a lot of encouragement to think that we could possibly do this as a family, because there's no way I was going to get the rest of them this far up, I don't think, you know, without a drama. So yeah, I'm glad I've done this little bit of a recce, because it's already paid off from that respect. And I'm seeing a public footpath sign, but I don't think it's the one I want. I think it's the one I'm going to come down on. I'll have to check the maps. Well, there's the first public footpath sign, and it heads up there. But I'm thinking I want to be further down there. I'm just going to walk down and check it. If not, I'll come back and do that one. But I'm right next to a boatyard, or a boat repair yard. There's an old hut cabin. It's obviously got a wood burner in there with the chimney. I love these old boat yards tucked away on rivers. This could be another boat yard, Calstock boat yard. Yeah, you've got good access to the water. As you can see, it's totally surrounded by woodlands. And I'd love a little wooden barrel like that for my back garden. So I'm continuing down this shaded lane, and it really is welcome from that sun. It really is. When the clouds go over and you're exposed to the sun, it really is quite strong. But yeah, possibly an old railway or transport bridge, access to the water or quays, not sure. Absolutely beautiful and enchanting walk this is. It may be a different story when it's extremely busy, if this ever does get busy. Not many passing places for cars though, that's for sure. Alright, I should imagine this possibly could be to do with the lime kilns and things like that they had here as well. That's a serious building there. Or perhaps mine workings. Let's have a look. Looks like the walls have been reinforced. Yeah, that looks like an old lime kiln where they used to burn the minerals to produce the lime. Nice speedboat there. Now that's more my leisurely kind of speed I would be going up here. Towing a paddleboard as well. Give him a nice little wave. Right, I've just come to this sign that says public footpath here. And I've got to take this track up through the woods. I see I've got a little bit of a sweat on. It's not sweat from working hard, it's literally the heat on my back. But it's nice and shaded up here. Now that is quite a view. Ooh. Still going uphill. Right, I've kind of left those domestic type of roads or improvised roads or lanes so people could get to their properties. We're actually in the woodland now. And this is a lot more what I would call my territory. I've seen a few dog walkers, but it hasn't been overly busy. And it is peaceful in here. Right, I need to check the map now, because there is a little bit of a maze of paths and trackways here. There is some ruins here actually. You might just see that one there. And another one down there. Right, I'm going to check the map and find out which way I've got to go. I think it's up that one. Right, it's not marked public footpath from what I can read on the map, so I'm just going to take my chances and apologise if I'm actually trespassing, but I think I'm on the right track here. This looks like a public footpath. So yeah, there's a bit more breeze coming through the gaps in the tree here at the minute, which is cooling me off. Right, yeah, this looks well worn, too well worn for it to be like a private track. This is definitely a public footpath. Would have been nice if it was marked public footpath though. Right then, yeah, I did actually go to Lundy Island a few days ago, and it's a bucket list thing that I've wanted to do. Now, what has stopped me from going is pretty much the logistics of getting to Barnstable or Ilfracombe at set times, and at certain points in my life, obviously money, and yeah, the whole logistics of just being somewhere at a certain time and doing it and fitting it in with family life, and it's never panned out. And obviously you tend to forget about things and they pop up into your head, you know, a long time after, you know, you could have possibly have done it, and you wouldn't have wanted to have been on the island, in my view, in rough, windy, rainy weather, and possibly in really hot weather it would get quite taxing because there's not a lot of shade or trees over there. So we've waited for the perfect day. The kids were off with the school for a 2 days action adventure well, set up thing with the school, so we were kidless, so we went over. We were constrained by you know, the issues and situations that we've got going on, so we were pretty much constrained to the central part where the village was. But for me, it was enough for me to see the island, feel the essence of it, and feel like I've scratched that itch. I may yet go back on my own where I'm, you know, fully mobile and with speed on my side and the terrain isn't going to bother me. So I may do that at some point and then film it. But I didn't film it quite simply because I wanted to enjoy the moment. It's taken me 35 years to get there. I did start to film it and it just felt like I was ruining that, well, special moment for myself. But yeah, I've got a few photos and I'll probably put those up. I'll see if I can dig them up and put them on. But I also went for a surf a few days prior to that as well, for a few hours down the coast, so I'll probably put a little bit of footage of that up. Yeah, here in North Cornwall, most people at some point end up at the coast, either doing some sort of recreation with the sea, in the sea, or around the sea, whether it be walking on the coastal paths, just sitting admiring the view with a cup of coffee, or actually getting in the sea. It's just what you do down here, by and large. So this pathway has been quite pleasant and really nice to walk on. There's a few sections where it's like tree roots and some stones, but all in all it's pretty accessible. And I've really enjoyed this walk. I'm going downhill now, so I'm probably going to join that lower lane in a minute. But I'm really enjoying this. And I'm glad the track does actually leave the roads to the properties, because you get to feel like you're in a woodland now, rather than somebody's large garden. So with the theme of slow living, it's kind of something that I'm adopting kind of religiously. If I'm not wild camping down the coast, doing things with the wife and kids, domestic chores or crafting, I kind of adopt the philosophy of just getting out for a slow little meander walk. I don't bring the dogs with me when I'm doing something like this for my own well-being, because the dogs require you to be, you know, a little bit switched on. The walk is predominantly for them. I'm just facilitating that walk for them. This is for myself, just to enjoy being out ambling around, looking over my shoulder, looking over gateways and fences to what's going on. And it's really good for my own mind. It allows me to kind of like to switch off and just enjoy being out in nature and enjoying my surroundings and somewhere new. And as if by magic, we're back down on the road. There's that sign we saw earlier. There's the boatyard, and we've done a little circular up in that woodland valley. Now I've got to retrace my steps along this lane that overlooks the river back to the car park. I'll catch you later. What a pleasant way to spend the early morning, just bobbing around on the river. What more could you want? Now that does look really, really peaceful, just bobbing along. They've timed the tide just right, because sometimes this can be running either in or out quite fast, and you see this river really moving fast. But they've timed this just right with the tide and the conditions. Just perfect. Right, so if we have a look here at Calstock, which is here, that's a playing field there. I walked over the playing field to the river, walked back into the village here, up through the little bit of village, come along the road, took this lane across there. The other footpath came down here, but I went around and followed these dotted red lines up through the woodland. Now you can see that doesn't indicate it is a woodland, but yeah, as you saw, it is all woodland. I didn't go so far as this footpath, which crosses over to a road up here. If you look at the Cornwall County Council app, you can clearly see other public footpaths in more detail. But basically, I went up here, came across, came down, and then continued back along this lane. So yeah, that's where we've been. It is actually quite busy considering the weather conditions. It's not overly brilliant, it's overcast, but it is warm. There is a warm breeze. Well, I've just been charged £6 for the privilege of 3 hours parking here, so yeah, that stings a bit, but I better make use of those 3 hours. Well, there's a surf school and a lifeguard station there. You've got a bridge with a small stream that comes down through the beach. It can be quite good fun. I've seen people, when it's been storms and heavy rain, kayak down there. Then you've got a big expanse of beach, because obviously it's low tide, out to the headland and the sea over there. So there you go, the beach, better view. And the properties up there, I wonder what the price tag on some of those are, with beachfront views and access. Low tide is a big vast expanse of sand like this, and as you can see, there's not much in the way of surf. I think that snorkel will be coming out after I've had a little play about in the water. Now, I'm actually on a longboard where I used to ride shorter boards, and I think I've mentioned it before. It's quite simply because as I've got older, I need that extra stability and float to get me into the waves and get me riding. It's just the progression of where I am in life, but this board is actually getting me into waves and giving me some fun. Well, I've had a little play around in the surf, didn't really get much in the way of waves, and as for filming, the way I'm doing it just doesn't work. Although I did think to myself, if I had a bodyboard and I'm lying down and holding onto a bodyboard, I would probably have more luck. I might try that next time. I think it's because you've got to paddle with both hands, kind of stand up. It's just too big a mess, and you get tangled up in that. But I've got my swim fins, mask and snorkel. I'm going to go down for a little snorkel in the sea a minute. Well, that was a bit of fun, although I think I've swallowed a bucket load of seawater. But I want to get out of here before my ticket runs out, because heaven knows what they'll charge if you overrun. So that's my main priority, to get out of here. And then I need to get a drink or something like that.
What's the crabs then?
There's crabs in that pool there.
Where?
That one there. Right down there.
I don't see any.
If you touch the seaweed and move it, you'll see them move.
Oh, I don't want to touch that. I'm currently...
Right, back to the car to get the wallet, because the kids want a new spade each and an ice cream. That's a valuable lesson. Always take your wallet with you. Yeah, I'm solo walking back. Couple guys over there don't seem to be getting anywhere against the rip and the onslaught of whitewater. They're getting tired at this moment. If they don't break out of it, they've got to seriously think about getting back in, or else they're going to be in on the rocks. You do have the lifeboat people kicking around here. There's enough eyes on them as well to make sure they get out safe. So that was a very thoroughly enjoyable little walk along the lanes, through the little town, and into a wooded area. And it's just big enough a circular to have a very pleasant walk and it not be taxing. Some people may want to go further, but like I said, if you have a look at the Cornwall County Council app, there's a lot more detail, and through that whole area and around that valley, you can make up your own trails for as long or distance wise or as taxing, because it's a lot of uphill and downhill in around this area, you can select and make your own trails. Because there's enough public footpaths around that area, you don't have to go off piste and find your own particular tracks, which might mean you trespassing. You can use public footpaths to gain access to a wide variety of terrain, and yeah, it's a really beautiful little area. So if you're ever in Cornwall, North Cornwall, I'm not sure if Calstock falls under North Cornwall district, but if you're in Cornwall and you want somewhere to go and have a little look around, Calstock is a nice little place to go on a day like today. It does get busy though weekends and during the major holiday periods. But yeah, we enjoy it as a family. We go there in that little play area for the kids. We'll sit there and have an ice cream, let them do their thing, and while away an hour and a half there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed coming along with me, and all that's left to be said is take care, stay safe, and hope to catch you guys on the trail.